prepared speeches. Our first speaker is Carl Thormeyer, and what I appreciate about Carl is that he's our taskmaster. He encourages us to stick to rules, and that's very important because we need rules to make the meeting run properly and to help us get the benefit of it. Carl has been in Toastmasters for over 4 decades, and he never stops learning. He's starting his 3rd journey through the Competent Communicator Manual, where he'll focus on his Toastmasters experience. So today we will hear his latest icebreaker entitled My Toastmasters Journey, Part 1. Carl?
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. People ask me, why are you still on Toastmasters after all these years? And I tell them, well, I'm a slow learner. I continue to learn. But you know what really motivated me is I just recently finished my 2nd time through the CC manual. You know, after 40 years, you'd think I'd do more than that. Okay, I'm done with that. I want to speak for a while. But then my mentee of 12 years, Arnie Buss, he's working on his 6th CC or something like that. He's 7th. And he's speaking again today, and I said, I'm never going to catch up with this guy unless I do another CC manual. So I've decided that I would focus for 10 speeches in this particular time through the CC manual on Toastmasters, in particular my experience with the organization and my journey through it. And that hopefully through my sharing that with you, that you will all be motivated to excel and do other things and move on through the organization as well. Now, I first was exposed to Toastmasters as a debater. I was a debater in college. And I think it was my senior year, my partner and I were invited to debate at the local Toastmasters Club at Penn State. This was State College, Pennsylvania. And so we went, we debated, and they had 2 speakers just like we do here as well. And neither were particularly good, and the winner at the end did get the trophy. And my partner and I are looking at each other, you got a trophy for that speech? And we walked out, and then when we reported on the meeting that we had to our debate team, we simply explained that, you know, he gave a speech that was terrible, and he got this big trophy, and we were laughing about the whole thing. And so that was my first exposure to Toastmasters. And I graduated, yes, I actually did graduate, and moved to North Carolina, and the first thing that somebody in my work group asked me to do was said, you've got to come to Toastmasters. We have a Toastmasters club here, and I'm thinking, oh my God, not these cheesy guys that give these terrible speeches and get this trophy. Well, boy, was I surprised. That was Asheville Club number 436, I think it was. Toughest club I have belonged to. You didn't mess around in that club. And I thought, oh, I'm a debater, I can get through this easily. And yeah, I did sail through my first 4 speeches, but speech number 5 at that time was vocal variety. And they flunked me. And they said, how can you flunk me? I said, you're going to have to do it again. No, you're going to have to do it again. You want to stay in the club, you do that speech again. And this is a tough club. I gave it again and eventually passed, but I should have flunked it. I really didn't do that good job. And so that was my exposure. I guess that's why today I'm still a taskmaster. This is a young kid. They had 3 people at the end of the meeting, the general evaluator, the vice president of education, and somebody else went out in the hallway and decided whether the speeches were going to pass or not. They came back and gave the president read, this was the results. So that was a tough club. And the club's still around, by the way. I visited it about 10 years ago again. So that was my first real experience as a member. And 6 months later, to avoid the draft, I went back to graduate school. Back at Penn State, and you'll never guess what club I joined when I got back there. Yes, indeed, it was the club that I had poo-pooed just a year or 2 earlier. And of course, they were better by then. And it continued on, but then I finished my graduate degree in meteorology and joined the Navy so that I wouldn't get drafted, and spent the next 25 years in the Navy. So they moved me to Guam, where I joined a club, Finnegatchen Toastmasters, which consisted of members from all over the island, locals, Guamanians, people from Guam, federal government people. There was a guy from NASA, military folks. It was an interesting club. In another speech, we'll talk about some of the things that happened there. And then just when I guess I was almost ready to be Vice President of Education, and the Navy moved me back here to Monterey. So I joined Monterey 934, which is still around. It's a morning club now, but it was an evening club at the time, for 2 hours in the evening. And kind of got my feet wet, really, in this club because I was here for 4 years and I could move up and eventually was the area governor in what at that time Area A1 was all of Santa Cruz and Monterey County. We had 9 clubs and now it's a whole division. So that shows you how much growth we've had here since then. And then the Navy moved me again to Hawaii. But before I went, I actually had attended a regional conference in San Francisco where the District 4 people, which is our district here, introduced me to the District 49 people, who were the folks from Hawaii, so that when I got over there, I could hit the ground running. And so I did, and was very active in district affairs in District 49 for the next 3 to 4 years, and I moved on up and would have eventually been district governor, but the Navy moved me again, back to Monterey. And I had the option at that time, Monterey 934 was kind of falling apart, and we tried to get it resurrected, but instead, I joined Naval Postgraduate School Toastmasters. There'll be a separate speech on our club down the line as well. During that 4-year period, I was the first division governor of Division A. That was a long time ago, and been resting on my laurels ever since. So then the Navy moved me again, and to the USS Enterprise, and I was actually in a club up in Bremerton, Washington for a while, which also is another speech topic. Moved back to Hawaii again, and joined my old club out there. But by that time I had 2 young kids, so I really wasn't all that active, except I was in several speech contests, which I usually lost. But to this day, I still am friends with a member of a former club of mine in Honolulu that I last saw at the regional conference 2 years ago here, who beat me in the district finals, and he never lets me forget. Did another speech. So finally I came back to Monterey, where I've been ever since, got back with Naval Postgraduate School, and the rest is history. But I knew I couldn't do all this in 7 minutes. So the next speech I give, talk about some of the incidents in some of these clubs, and some of the things that we did that were unique that we don't see in our clubs today that might give you ideas. So until that time, think about the next time I give a speech, and I can be assured that as long as it's in this club, it will be in the CC manual, and it will be part of my Toastmasters journey.
Woo!